Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm going to start this a little bit slower just because I have messed with the audio levels. And whilst for weeks I've had complaints that the audio wasn't right, actually looking back, it hasn't been. I don't actually know if I fixed it yet. I've been tweaking things just before the stream. I'm actually looking at YouTube settings live as I'm talking. Please let me know if there's any clipping because I have pushed it up quite a bit. Looking at the numbers on the previous streams, we are actually about 13 dB down, and I don't really understand why. Way too loud. I don't... Everything my side is okay. There's definitely something weird going on with YouTube at the moment with me and audio. And I'm trying to resolve it. So hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. It is Sunday night, and tonight we're going to be telling you what is bad about lots of brands, because I keep getting accused of hating Caddx or only talking crap about Caddx. So we're going to talk about all of the lies and nonsense that DJI have made. Ooh, my cup of tea's arrived. We're going to talk about Caddx, and let me just grab it. And I'm going to be burning bridges absolutely everywhere tonight, so we're going to do that. We're also going to talk about one of the first new AM32s that I have seen come out, which is from SEQURE. I can never pronounce their name. Caddx have released some new gimbals. Wasn't a product that I was expecting, but hey, that has come out. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Snapmaker Artisan because I can't move in this room because there's a 3D printer in here the size of a small car. And we're going to start the stream with a thank you. And it's only right I do it this way because I'm going to send a big thank you over to the guys at Rotor, Riot and FatShark. Now, for those who don't know what this is about those goggles, the Dominator HDs that I bought damaged intentionally, knowingly, that we couldn't repair. I reached out to Caddx. Caddx told me the board wasn't available. Caddx then apologized and said the board was available and they were going to send me one alongside something I was going to give away to you. However, that Caddx package never arrived. What did happen, though, was the guys at FatShark did reach out to me. I actually had emailed them and they took a bit of time to come back, working very closely with Rotor Riot. It seems the FatShark support is largely being handled by the guys at Rotor Riot now. They apologized for the delay and they shipped me a board. That board was fitted in the goggles a couple of days ago. My initial testing is looking good. I've done a couple of flights on them. They look bob on. So more than anything, I just wanted to say a big thank you to the guys over at FatShark and Rotor Riot because, look, to be fair, they didn't charge me for the board. They didn't have to do it for free. They didn't charge me for the board, and they did reach out and get it sorted. And I'm going to be honest and crystal clear here. There are a lot of people who like Rotor Riot, and there are a lot of people who don't. I've only ever had good experiences whilst dealing with these guys, and I'm not, they're not a dealer I would generally deal a lot with in the UK because they're based in the US, but what I can absolutely say is I've got no shades, nothing that I would throw at them, and I know over the years I threw some stuff at Drew over you don't get to know, but he deserved that. That was your own fault, Drew, for saying something very, very silly to allow an arsehole like me to then pull you up on it. And if you do it again, I'm going to do it. But hey, that's all fair in love and war. But on the upside, I have to say that the info, the support they gave, and the repair part they gave was bob on. So a huge thank you to the guys over at FatShark stroke Rotor Riot for that one. On the flip side of that, Caddx didn't deliver on the promise that they made. Who would have thought? Caddx not delivering on a promise that they made. That's a shocking state of events. Now, hello to everyone in the chat. I'm just going to get myself set up. I was messing with the audio just before I got on, so let me just make sure I've got everything where I can see it. 85 of you. Hello, hello, hello. For those who didn't see, Mr. Bardwell was back live tonight. It's great to see the King of FPV return to the live stream. I thoroughly enjoyed listening to it. In fact, I often like JB's Sunday night stream because I would listen to it. Hello, Andy. Hope you're well. I've been messing around with Meshtastic. It was great to hear JB tonight because I was messing around with some stuff as JB was on, and there's always just such a big audience and a lot of people and a lot of questions, and it's always interesting just to hear JB's take on it. And it's good. It's good to have that Sunday night stream back. And that's where he should be. There we go. So, yeah. Now, tonight, there's some stuff to talk about. I don't actually have a lot of new products in to talk about yet. There is some stuff I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about. I haven't had time today to send an email on it. I've been sort of catching up. And I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I sort of stopped doing anything for 3 weeks. I needed to take a little bit of a break, and I needed to sort of just get my head square on some stuff. And I took a couple of weeks out, and I even just ignored emails from brands and companies. And then when I actually started looking through some of those emails, I was like, oh, right, actually, that's quite interesting. Oh, right, actually, I might want to do something about that. So we're going to talk about a few of those things tonight. But before we do that, I want to talk about all of the nasty things a couple of brands have done. And I'm not going to take long on this, but really more than anything, this is a point around a video that I put out yesterday. For those who didn't see, I put a video out, which was sort of a 6-month update on the Caddx Goggles X. Now, the interesting thing about that video, for those who hadn't seen, and let me grab mine because they are here somewhere. Where are they? Is that them up there? Yep. Yes. Now, part of that video was filmed 6 months ago. At the point of the production goggles being sent and the overheating issues becoming apparent with the Caddx goggles, they did send me a production set to have a look at and test and try and figure out what the differences are between the production set and the pre-productions that I got. And there are actually a few changes, not any changes that affect the overheating, but there are changes when, for instance, the PCB board colors are different. Mine are green, that one is black, although it's the same revision, and just some other stuff. But more than anything, I wanted to do a 6 months later on these to try and really get to grips with, did Caddx fix the issues? And you'll note what I said in the video was yes. I overall said that the overheating issues have been resolved. But where we giveth on one hand, we taketh on the other. And it was only fair to talk about the things that were promised. And the things that were promised were an app that allows you to stream live. We are 8 months, basically, from initial review release, and we still don't have that app. I have taken some criticism on Facebook because clearly Caddx have been busy sorting out the problems, and people would rather they fix the overheating problems rather than do things like the app. I didn't realize they were working every single day to fix the overheating problem. I thought they basically smashed out a plaster heatsink that fixed the issue. Who knew? They've removed the zoom feature, and there's a number of little things. But hey, we shouldn't treat Caddx in isolation of being bad, because DJI are a big bunch of lying twats as well, remember? And there are many things that big old 3-letter company has not only screwed you over on, but actually not delivered on. So whilst it is only fair that I highlight the issues with Caddx, we should take the carrot and stick approach to DJI as well. And when I say the carrot and stick approach, I mean you take a big carrot, ram it up their ass, followed by the stick, followed by a bigger, rougher carrot, as one of my favourite characters on TV says. So let's not forget that DJI are also a bunch of useless lying gets as well, because first of all, they told us with the release of the support for the Air unit and Vista for the DJI Goggles 2 and Integra that recording would be coming in the future, yet it hasn't. We should just confirm that they did say that, because today, if you use the original DJI Air unit with the Goggles 2 or Integra, you can't record. So it is worth mentioning that DJI lied to you big style around that one. DJI FPV Air unit release notes. And it's even in their release notes because, hey, DJI are really good at saying things they never deliver on in print. Here we go. So this was the big firmware update for the Goggles 2 and the Air units and everything. So added support for the goggles, added support for the aircraft to is this FPV drone? Oh, wait a minute. This might be FPV drone. Yeah, it is. Bugger. Right there. It's always hard to get the FPV system release notes. Ah, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. So, here we go. So, firmware version 01.01.0000. Added support for use with the DJI Goggles 2. Recording from the Air unit is currently not supported. Currently, DJI, this was the 8th of the 12th, 2022. It is now the last day of June 24. And you still haven't added support for recording on the DJI Air unit on the Goggles 2 and Integra. So you have lied. You have also still not fixed a number of the bugs, but this is the big one that I've got on paper that I can really poke you with, is this one. So, not only is it that Caddx haven't delivered on their promises, but DJI haven't either. Now, Philip Winkler has said, why do you talk so negative about Caddx? I don't talk negative about Caddx. I talk the truth about Caddx. Caddx have delivered a set of goggles that they've now fixed that didn't work at release properly, yet they haven't delivered on a number of the features that they sold the product based around. That includes Wi-Fi streaming via the app. That's not being negative, and I'm sorry, 8 fucking months later is not an acceptable time frame. If they'd have delivered it in 3 or 4 months, I get it. But 8 months isn't acceptable. Neither is 18 months for DJI to actually add support for recording on the Air unit. What is important is this, okay? And here's my point, guys. Actually, I'm not going to rant too long on this, but here's the important thing, right? I can make you a review on day one and tell you, like I did, these goggles are fantastic. Right. Let me show you something, actually. This is actually a better way of doing it. I can make a review on day one. If I go on YouTube onto my channel, Wi-Fi streaming app, Zoom function that was in the menu isn't there. We don't have the analog module that they said they were going to release, and there's no information so far, and we should say so far, on the version 2 system. Now, you can't really hold them too much to that. But the zoom function has been there, which they've never fixed. Our focus mode also doesn't work either. It still doesn't work properly. My point is this, guys. Here's my point. If you want me to make a review and tell you all of the things about a product that I've known for about a week and a half, 2 weeks, and if it's great, tell you it's great, and then never follow up on it. Oh, head tracking. That's the point. Head tracking doesn't even work on these gimbals yet either. The people who have the gimbals, the head tracking doesn't actually work. I can make you a review and then tell you everything that's great and then never bother following it up, because why would I want to go back and give you information that is different, that is important, that is how the product has developed. It is really easy for me to sit here and make a review and never talk about it again. Because that's what most others do, right? I can sit here and go, hey, here it is on day one. This is what they told me. This is about how well it works. There we go. Or I can tell you the truth as time goes on and hold the brand to account for the promises they make upon selling the product. Now, I call things promises that are labeled as coming soon, in the future, in the spec list, when you buy the product. That is what I call in the future. Now, I'm not saying Caddx are bad. I actually have a really good relationship with Caddx. Caddx have been extremely good for this channel. In fact, here's the truth. The best thing I could do is say nothing bad about Caddx. I am a Caddx affiliate, right? Here's the truth. I've been open about this. Caddx give me money when you buy a set of goggles with my link. Yet, people keep saying, why am I so negative to Caddx? It is in my financial interest not to say bad things. Yet I do. Why is that? Because what is important is that the user gets the truth. And again, every brand is held accountable for the information and the statements they make at the point of release. If we don't hold them to account, there is no point having a review. You've got to be able to go back and look at something and say, hey, this was what it was on this day. They told us this, and 6 months later, they delivered this. Now, I'm okay with brands actually saying, look, we promised this, but in the end, we had this technical difficulty. What I'm not okay with, though, is this worryingly constant march forward without ever mopping the floor behind them. And that is the issue. That is the problem. It's that is the problem I have. You have to tell the truth. And as much as people keep want to say, you know, oh, he hates Caddx, he hates Shija. I don't hate any brand. I actually really like Caddx. I do really like Caddx, but they are extremely frustrating. And at times, I don't agree with them. Just like I didn't agree with them with a recent agreement that they asked me to do, and I said no. You have to remember, all of these companies are not your friends. Now, there are some amazing companies in FPV. And I'll name two right off the top of my head. TrueRC and Radiomaster, right? Two of the best brands I have dealt with, period. Right? End game. Non-negotiable. Absolutely fantastic. But the reality is, they're still not our friends. They are here to make money. And it doesn't matter how good they are. It doesn't matter how well they cooperate with KOLs. My job is to hold them to account for the products that they make and the information and the promises they make as part of that. Because as long as we do that, everyone benefits. The most dangerous thing you can do is give a brand a free ride. Because once they've got a free ride, we couldn't do this, don't worry about it. Right, we said we were going to do this, but actually it's going to cost 1,000 hours of dev time now because marketing spouted its mouth off before actually asking the dev team. So when it comes down to the actual product manager delivering on the spec list, he sits there and stands back and says, that's 1,000 hours of dev time, that. We don't have that in the budget. Oh, don't worry about it. It's okay. the users won't cause any noise. That is dangerous. It is important, no matter how much you like a brand, how much you support a brand, you hold them to account. And that's my point. And that's all I ever do on this channel. People call it clickbait. People call it he only does it for clicks. He only does this. It's about holding people to account for what they say and delivering on that. And I'm okay if they can't. But if they can't, they got to come out and say it. I'll never criticize a brand for saying, you know what, we made a promise that we shouldn't have and we couldn't keep it up. That's fine. Hold your hands up. Just go. There you go. That's it. We made a mistake. Move on. We'll all accept it. And that's... But don't pretend to forget about it and move along. And let's be clear here, right? DJI is bad. As bad. Caddx. HDZero actually very good. Carl has largely delivered on all of his promises he made. 1080p took a long time, but it did get there. You know, there's not really anything Carl has promised that he hasn't delivered in the end. I can criticize HDZero for the amount of time 1080p took. I can absolutely do that, but it did get there in the end. So that's the point I've made. That's really what it was about. So, now, just catching up on the chat a minute, he would make a killer politician. You talking to me? I'd love to go. I would love to have a crack against these complete and utter half-wits that we've got in the country today. I'd love a politician. Do you know what? Here's something. I was sitting here watching this stuff in the UK. I'm not on about the US. I don't want to get down to that because that's just scary. That's just, whoa. But in the UK, I was watching stuff here the other day, and I'm just sitting here just going, just answer the fucking question. Here's the truth. Here's the honest truth. How are you going to fix education? You know what? It's not easy. But I want to put more money into it. I want to make sure that the money that we've got going into it is going to the right places. And we need to make sure that we've got the kids in school for starters. And when the kids are in school, that they're getting the best education we can deliver. Don't worry about delivering the best education in the world. Problem number one is making sure that the kids are in school. Problem number two is making sure that you've got the best education you're getting as many students as you can to the peak that you're delivering, and then over time work on moving that peak up. What you can't do is swallow an elephant whole and fix all of the problems overnight. And I'm just sitting there going, why won't a politician tell truth? Why can't they say, when it comes to immigration, we can't fix all of the problems? What we can do is start a process today that will get us to where we want to be in the future. And that's all it's about. But they won't tell the truth. None of them will openly say that, oh, I can't actually fix all of the problems. But what I can do is take the resources we've got and make sure we're using them better, and actually then make sure that we're not getting bogged down by stupid things in the system, because that is what's happening. It's crazy, and it's just crazy. But I would love to have a crack at some of these guys. I'd love to sit down for half an hour and go at them. Catching down on the chat, further down. Sorry, we got into politics then. I'm unclear about the zoom feature. The zoom was meant to be the zoom in and out on the displays. So it's been there since day one and it's never worked. And they've now removed it. Radio Master knocked it out the park with the handling of the Ranger issue. Absolutely. Radio Master, such a top brand. I'm really disappointed. They're really quiet at the moment. Come on, Radio Master. Where's the stuff to talk about? This time last year, we were on a roll with Radio Master. The Pocket, the Boxer, the Ranger modules, the Bandit modules. We were on a complete roll with Radio Master last year. And it's like, I'm halfway through this year, going, where is it all? Where is it? Yeah, the reason the zoom feature is important is a lot of people find the field of view very wide. The field of view on the avatar system is wide, so being able to zoom out is a benefit. The hobby is at a low point, innovation, only marketing BS. Yeah, it's not great at the moment. Louis, have you done any teardowns of 4-in-1 modules? Curious if there's any hardware difference between LBT and non-LBT, specifically Radio Master. Right. I've not done the 4-in-1s on LBT, non-LBT. On the Express ELRS, Louis, it's the same hardware. I don't know if you know that. It's only firmware. I don't know on the 4-in-1s. My money is no different, and they're just doing it in firmware. Most of us are buying things with features, not promises. With tech, we know to do this. I'm not so sure, Rick. Sorry, mate. I don't agree with that. Many people are buying based on what is said on that sheet, whether it's now or later. And that's why I end up with people like me and JB say, look, be careful. Toys RZ said, what is worrying now is that they keep developing and selling things without fixing previous products, 100%. Thank you for your input, someone said. OCD FPV, I like the comment JB gave you today. Yeah, I did see. JB's a good guy. I do appreciate it. He had I put a super chat on and JB found me out is what happened. I'm not saying there's any truth in it, but JB found me out is what happened. Captain Bry, yeah, do all the things you say before you make another new product. You can never go wrong with the truth. JP Spin FPV, the number one thing committing my fleet to Walksnail is the stuff they've not followed through on. I need the app, I need the head tracking sorted out. Yeah, hopefully we'll see the head tracking soon with these new gimbals. We'll talk about that in a minute. Chris has said every time they release a new product, it's a slap in the face to products that's missing features. It's a shit show. I just want head tracking. I think it's coming, but we don't know what it's going to look like. I love my Boxer. It's a fantastic. It takes time not just to tune out the same. A Gemini, a Gemini Express RS TX would be great from Radio Master. It would. What do I think about the Jumper T Pro Vision 2 in place of a Tango 2? Oh... I'd pick a different radio. I'm burning a bridge here as well. Jumper just always seem to deliver a poorer quality radio than everyone else. That's me trying to be kind. The Tango 2 is a good radio, but then again, I've not owned a Tango 2. I've used one. I've had the Mambo. The gimbals are a bit annoying with the temperature drift that you do get on them. The jumpers aren't bad, but they just lack quality. That is definitely an area Radio Master can need to get back into, is the Zorro never quite... That's the one miss that Radio Master have had probably in the last 2 years, is the Zorro. And it is a fantastic radio apart from the battery life. It's the only radio I'll say they missed on. They just didn't quite get the darts in the bullseye on that. It's a fantastic radio, but the battery life is just... Oh. Zorro needs 18650 or 21700. Yeah, it's just... Yeah. Oh, that's weird, Mr. Rallyo. Yeah, the yaw coming on automatically. That's a bit weird. I think, look, Caddx definitely delivering a nice product. There are elements that can be better. And look, if I'm criticizing, it's because there are things that could be improved and I'm frustrated that they're not. And if they did improve them, hey, what are people like me going to complain about then? Imagine we were in a world where they took all the feedback and did all of these things, and then look what we had. Then look what we'd be in. So, Yeah, it's interesting. Now, whilst we are on Caddx, it's probably the right time to talk about this. And no, I'm not talking about the Moonlight. I'm talking about these, the Caddx GM series gimbals. Now, they support head track paired with avatar goggles. Now, I don't have these. I've not tried them. I've not tested them. There are 3 gimbals available. There's a GM1. The GM1 is very much an OEM gimbal. 2-axis. Sorry, single axis, not 2-axis. So you've just got a pitch control. No yaw. No roll. And that is available for $54.99. And this definitely looks very much like a bit of an OEM designed product. Again, renderings on the website. I'll be honest, iFlight are bad for this as well, so I'm going to call iFlight out for it. Manufacturers should not be sticking renderings of their products on their websites. I'm sorry, that's bullshit. I want the pictures of the product itself. Because at this point, it tells me you haven't actually made it. And Flywoo. But yeah, renderings, that's bullshit. But iFlight are as bad for this. If not, probably worse, if I'm honest. So you have a 2-axis gimbal. Clearly, a rendering. We then have a dual-axis version, which is the GM2. Let me just go back in. So the GM2 is a dual-axis. So you've got pitch and roll. And if we just look on the images, this is more of a finished product than the GM1. So if you look at the GM1, there's no back cover. The GM2 is more of a finished product. And then you've got the GM3, which is 3-axis gimbal, pitch, roll, and yaw. Specifically designed for the Caddx FPV cameras. Connection inputs on the back. Price-wise, we should do the pricing. So the GM2 dual axis is $69.99 and the GM3 is $104.99. More renderings. What is also clear in these is that they appear to be releasing a box set of goggles soon as well. This is clearly in that image that you can see there. There's a set of box goggles that we don't really know anything about, but the fact that it's there clearly suggests that they're going to be releasing something soon. Bonafide Pirate has done a review. I've seen, I think a review is loose because the head tracking isn't working yet, does it? Potentially, yes, it means the gyro gets activated. More stock images. Let's be honest, that is not from that. That is not an image from the Caddx freaking camera. I'm sorry, that isn't. Managed through the avatar goggles menu. So you've got, where's the, is that easily manage gimbal modes and sensitivity through avatar goggles menu or via PWM. This is funny. This is actually very funny, and I've just spotted it. Easily manage gimbal modes through the avatar goggles menu or via PWM, giving you precise control over the gimbal. Yet, they don't even have a picture of these settings, which basically tells us they haven't done it yet. They've put a picture up of the standard camera controls. They don't actually have a picture of the options that are available in the goggles menu for the gimbal. That's a good start. Brilliant. And look, I'm being critical here, but fucking come on. You're asking for money from users for products, right? You're asking for add to cart, buy it now, right? And we have this kind of thing. They then go on to show some wings and planes. They do show it connected there. So a rendered ear unit connected to a rendered gimbal from the look of it. So I'm guessing those rendered connections work absolutely fine. It does have 3 modes available on it. Single axis, dual axis, 3 axis. Our gimbals diverse need users, whether you're a professional pilot or amateur enthusiast. The flexibility of the gimbal shows the thing. So it tells you the movement. You've got 120 degrees on that one, that's good. I can see a lot of people liking that. When will it be shipped? Order given best pilots. Currently order will be shipped within 10 days. So right now we have rendered images of a gimbal, right? With a potential new set of goggles. With more stock images. With a picture of the settings that don't actually exist because they don't have them. On a rendered image. And yeah, that's all the information we got. We've got the technical info. So we've got 19mm camera support, weighs 16 grams on the GM1, 7 to 26 volts, PWM and UART connection, 46 grams for the 3-axis. Hopefully they're good. My criticism is, again, we're left in a situation of renders, no manual. Photos cost time and money. Maybe putting real images up would put the price up if they're only expecting to sell a low volume. DG, I don't want to say... No. Okay, here's a real simple stance. If you can't put up a fucking actual picture of the product you're selling, then don't fucking sell it. End game. Move on. Let's... I don't care how many they fucking sell. They can sell one. I want a picture. A rendering is not acceptable in any brand, period. I have no issues with renders being part of an image set to give you an idea of size and information, but come on. An actual picture of the product is a bare minimum required. And iFlight, you're bad for this. You don't get off lightly either. Just... Yes, sorry. I need a fixed 45-degree angle stabilized cam for object recognition. This is very cheap option if it works. Yeah, hopefully it will. DJI stuff often rendered. Not really. DJI don't. They have a lot of renders with actual pictures. There always is actual pictures with DJI. So what you will find with DJI is this, right? If you go to the DJI website, so if we look at the Avata 2, this is a good example, okay? So, actually, let's go Mavic 3 Pro, okay? So here is, look, here is renders, okay? Some of these are renders, some of these aren't. Some of this is renders, that's fine, okay? But when you then go to the buy now, okay, you have renders, but then what you will have is actual product imagery. So you will have actual images of the products from DJI. They do put actual products. DJI sort of use a mixture of rendered and real images, but they do upload real images. They do exist. They're usually touched up. You know, that is the real remote. DJI, all of these images are real. That is a real image of the product. It's not a render. It's the image of the product taken on the desk. DJI always have real images in with the renderings. It's always there. You can have a look at it. I don't mind renders. Renders are acceptable. No, I'm saying put a fucking image of the actual product on the page sitting on a table. I don't care if it's a white desk. I don't care if it's thing. What it isn't is this is acceptable. This is nonsense because, look, it's not even a PCB. If we go to the images, right, this isn't even a photorealistic image. This is a CAD image rendered of what it should look like, not what it is. So if you look at this image, this isn't a photorealistic render. It's just a thing. They can take images of their products, and it's a problem in everything right now. A lot of companies are doing it. As I said, iFlight are bad for it as well. iFlight are really bad for this on FCs. And I tell you what really gets my goat up is on FCs on this. So if we go to iFlight store, right? iFlight are really banned and no manual. So if we go, yeah, look, if you even look at iFlight do it on their drones. Foxy too. Is that a render, that one? I can't actually tell. It annoys me on the flight controllers. My God, does it annoy me on the flight controllers. So you go into here and you go, oh, let's have a look at the flight controller. A render. No, a lot of DJIs are DJIs are all photorealistic renders. They're not all photorealistic renders. Some of them are actual pictures on DJIs. They always have been. Some of DJIs are actual pictures. They use a mixture of renders and pictures. Caddx and iFlight and others are using stupid renders, which don't remotely come close to what the actual product looks like. Have you ever ordered an FC? Maybe you just get the PDF. Caddx are also known for using stock images. For technical pop or us, there's render. Yeah, look, you should, if you're going to have a picture of a product on a website, doesn't matter who you are, it should be the actual product. Now, I don't know what the gimbals are like. I'm not particularly in a rush to order one. I don't know if anyone I haven't made a decision if I want to. The problem is because there's 3, it complicates things. Because from a review perspective, right, you've either got to heavily test all 3. You've either got to test all 3 because you can't just test one and say, hey, it's a great product. You can only say this gimbal is okay. I haven't really tested them individually. I haven't got them. I do have something coming this week, but I don't know who it's from. So I don't know. Perhaps these will turn up. I'll have to wait and see. But yeah, they're out. Price is okay. As far as I understand it, no one's actually seen them with head tracking yet. I didn't watch that review the guy's done. Did he have head tracking working or not on the goggles? I haven't actually watched it. But yeah, I do have a particular bugbear with manufacturers using renders on their website. It's just not, look, put some proper product images up. If you're making it, put the product images up. Do they have a designated use, 1, 2, and 3? Well, 1 looks like you're probably going to want to put it in the front of a plane or something you just want to look up and down. 2 is obviously a dual axis, so you're going to have a roll. So if you want your more FPV feel. So that's, you know, people are going to be putting that on the front of planes or in the cockpit and stuff like that to give you your more feel. I'm not quite sure how many people are going to be interested in the 3-axis in FPV. The 3rd axis, the yaw is only really handy if you want to do filming. Fixed wings, yeah, interesting product, you know. At $54, that on RC cars, yeah, that's cool on an RC car. I put the 3-axis on the Rover, and that was quite fun. Okay, so that's that little rant over. If you got any questions, put it in the chat now, and I'll try and answer it. What's my favorite connector for interface on drone add-ons? I don't really like any of them because I've never got the cable I like. My favorite add-on is solder. I prefer just open pads. The reason I'm not a big fan of connectors is I've never got the one I need. That's the most secure is GH. JST-GH is usually the most secure. But you never got the one you need. You've never got it. You know what it's like. You're putting something together and you're like, I haven't got that. It's always the same. Does head tracking work on the DJI goggles? Right, it works only with their drones, Robro. So it only works on the Avata, the Avata 2, etc. Where's my RC boat? I haven't finished it. It's going to be starting now again. You never have the right connector. And the great thing about 3D printers is, if you've never got the right bracket, you can make it. You can't 3D print the bloody right connector. The thing with head tracking in the goggles is it didn't work for long range. The moment you move the head tracker and patch antennas, it misaligns with the quad. Yeah, and here's something that's going to be interesting is how Caddx are managing head tracking. So head tracking is actually quite hard to do, and we don't know yet how well they're going to work. And here's a concern I'm going to raise already, and this is a genuine one, right? We already have problems with Caddx on the flashing OSD. The flashing OSD is largely caused because of the priority of the data rate from the OSD stream. There are a few other reasons, and I still don't quite understand why Caddx couldn't keep what was written last on display rather than let it flash. However, in a data rate, you would get flashing. I do wonder, how is Caddx going to pass this data on? So it's going to be a data stream from the goggles back to the air side. They've got a 10 megahertz uplink, okay, carrier uplink from the goggles to the air side. So that's there. But I do just wonder what the reliability of the head tracking is going to be like, and how well it will keep track, because it's very easy to lose track on head tracking quickly. It's going to be very easy for it to, it only takes a little bit of drift. To get head tracking done well is really difficult. I'll be honest, DJI did a really good job on the Goggles 2 and Integra. Yes, there are crimpers for all the JST type connections. I keep meaning to order a full set. I usually end up finding a connector on something and cutting it off and splicing because it's quicker. Because you've never got the right length of cable anyway. But I do wonder how reliable the head tracking link will be. It'll be interesting to see. Goggles are a terrible place to have a magnometer as well. Yeah. Just have a button on your radio to reset the tracker. Yeah. And this is going to be the issue. Are we going to have a button on the goggles for resetting? I don't know how they're going to do this. As Chris said, head tracking isn't much code at all. Getting a small dead band may be difficult, and we need to reset zero is the only major question. Yes, and then having that data flow back and forth reliably, and not have jitter, and not have unexpected movement, and have a stable connection. You know, what you don't want is silly things like the gimbal resetting when the connection drops and stuff like this. Motion gesture, nod 2 times to reset. Shake your head to reset. Yeah, it's going to be interesting, and that's why I will probably get the 3-axis gimbal for that testing. From what I understand, the head tracking uses the video link. Yeah, well, it won't be the video link it's using, because you've got to remember the head tracking has to come from the goggles to the ear unit. It will use the telemetry upload link from the goggles, but that space is currently being used for packet retransmits, so they're going to have to take a bit of data rate out of that. They may have overhead in there at the moment. That's a 10 megahertz carrier on the uplink, but remember, you have video coming down, telemetry link going back up. And with that telemetry link, you'll then have the head tracking data. And that should be small amounts of data. But it's how you handle it when that data is missing, or when that data is not in place. You know, I've pan tilt then pitch yaw. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how they handle it, because it's, you know, you there's quite a lot you want in a head tracker. I use the RC signal for head tracking with the V2 goggles, so no issues with head movements. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they handle it and the options they give. You know, you're going to want dead band settings. You're going to want speed. You're going to want reset. You're going to want your modes. There's quite a bit here that needs to be sort of, it's not quite just do it and run. Head tracking needs a to make head tracking really good. You want sensitivity speed, dead band, and you want reset, and you want what else are you going to want? A mode. And you want filters on the tracker input. Yeah, there's a bit more to this than meets the eye. All those things can be set via HDX. Yeah, but they're not going to plow it through the remote. They're going to pump the head tracking via... They're going to have... You've got an external option via the remote, but they're going to pump their head tracking via the video link. They're definitely going to pump their head tracking via the video link. Yeah, and that's it. It is that balance. And you're going to want all those settings. And that's why it's frustrating that here you're not seeing any of that. You know, what's annoying is on the website, oh yeah, look, gimbal mode and sensitivity through the avatar goggles menu. Well, they haven't even got a picture of it yet. See, stuff like that is worrying. Stuff like that is really worrying. That they don't even have a picture of the options. It's a random pick. It really is a random pick. And that's what scares me. Props off. Thank you for the $5 super chat. I smashed the like button and didn't hit it at all. Thank you, mate. Now, while I'm doing the super chats, another one came in that I missed. Omar send over £10. Here's some appreciation for not only being willing to hold companies to a task, but doing it in such a hilarious manner. Thank you, my friend. I really appreciate that. And then props off for the $5. That's incredible. Thank you. Yeah, they're going to do the head tracking via the video link. You're not going to be external cables, RC link, or anything like that, as far as I understand it. You can only hope it's a disconnect between the engineer's marketing rather than just being unfinished. Okay, here's a question. Has anyone seen the head tracking working even on the guys testing? In the video that was posted, did he show the head tracking working with the goggles? I suspect not. Nope. He uses a monitor indoors. No head tracking been seen at this time. Does it even exist? Oh my God, I'm live. Hello, Justin. How are you? Yes, Justin, I am not a figment of your imagination. I am actually talking to you. Hello. Now I'm going to have to bring my voice back up because I went quiet. So, okay, that's Caddx. They're done. Now, before we move on to questions, just a couple of other things, actually, I want to talk about. We have a few other things going on. Now, let's go back here first. In the world of ESCs, there isn't a lot of updates. There is, though, some really, really exciting stuff coming around the corner. And whilst I've been talking a lot about AM32, and we're going to talk about AM32 in a minute, AM32 are not alone in what is coming. And there is some really great work being done on some other closed source ESCs. I'm not going to hide that fact that they're not closed source, because they are. But there is some really cool other work around the corner. And I'm hoping that I can talk about this soon. I don't know what I can talk about yet. What is cool is that whilst we have lost BL-Heli-32, it isn't over. Now, I can give you a little bit of another update as well. Okay, so on BL-Heli-32, I am currently sitting on, as many others are, all of the test files for 32.95. However, there isn't a way in the public configurator to flash them yet. I do believe I have a method of flashing them in hand, though. I haven't had a chance to test it yet. I'm going to be looking at that this week. And then I'm going to find out if this can actually be put into the public hands or not. If this happens, what this will mean is you would be able to flash your ESC with 32.95. So, for the people who have the very specific problem of the ESC needs to be rebooted in the event of a crash, and a few other things, there might be a solution. What we don't have is 32.10. Now, 32.95 was the test version of 3210. What we don't know is if 32.95 is the same as 3210. We don't know, did BL Heli change anything else? But there might be a solution coming on flashing the 32.95 test files. But there needs to be some understanding and testing around this because there's no easy way back. And there are some cautions that we have in place. Let me just take a drink a sec. For starters, there's a concern that there may be a flight limit on doing this. As Zoe FPV pointed out, it's a real bummer for 3D pilots. Yeah. There may be a flight limit. We've been warned that there could be a flight limit. And I've also been warned that it may not work. It is going to be tested this week, and hopefully there'll be more info. We have the test files. We have them already. They're secure. They're in place. We just need a way of flashing them. PropStopper said, AM32, we need a schematic on how and what pins for the bootloader. Look, I don't... What prevents you from reading? Yeah, that would possibly be the only way, would be to compare. I had already thought of this, 1D, was to try and do a hex download and try and do a comparison, but it's not going to be easy. There is no unlocked bootloader for BL Heli 32. Look, AM32 is also not the magical answer today for everyone. There are a lot of people who won't actually necessarily like flying AM32 straight out the box compared to BL Heli 32. AM32 is a different ESC firmware. It's a lot rawer, actually. And what I mean by that is this. A lot of people don't realise BL Heli 32 has a lot of nannying, filtering added into the ESC. AM32 doesn't. AM32 will feel rawer. It could feel to you a little bit less refined. You should feel a bit more power. That's not bad. It's a different firmware. Again, if you're happy with 32.9 or earlier, there's no great run to change. Stay as you are a minute. The chances are you're going to have to possibly retune your quad on AM32 as well. Is there any reason at all to side grade to AM32? Not really. I don't really think anyone needs to run out and do it. I noticed SkyStar Stark's AM32 feel way more floaty and more hang time. Yeah, there is a difference. There is a difference in how it behaves. It's not the same. You know, there is... BL Heli 32 has been developed to feel in a certain way as well. What does the ESC firmware actually do? Well, it takes the inputs that from your flight controller that says, hey, I want you to go fast or slow, and then it translates that into motor control. Blue Jay is still there, but it's not super active. Yeah, and Blue Jay's 8-bit. You got to remember, these are 8-bit. Do you think European NATO had something to do with the BL Heli 32 Striker? I don't know. We don't know for sure. Yeah, you know, look, if you're happy with BL Heli 32, stay with it. Are there any one-to-one flight time tests? No, I wouldn't expect flight time to change. I don't buy into there being any great deal. Look, power is power. Consumption is consumption. Right, if that power isn't going into the motors, it's then being expelled by the ESC in heat. So consumption shouldn't change dramatically. AH4 Quad 6 said AM32 has very little prop wash, even with knackered props. PWM frequency can make a difference. Yes. Yeah, how you're running the motors will, but when you're talking like for like, you shouldn't see too much. Omar said, I can't tell the difference between 8-bit and 32. Yeah, and most people might not notice it. But look, there isn't a great reason to run out. We are, though, hopefully inefficient phase switching time. Yeah, look, this is where things get interesting, because this is where features, look, if we take a look at this, right? So, FatShark are working on some very interesting stuff, as we've known already. Like, so if we go to FatShark ESCs, look, today FatShark have their standard ESCs, but you guys know from they've been working on their new ESCs for a while. Let me just find the page to it. Let me just, I'm just trying to find... Is it on their blog? I'm trying to find the post. I'm just trying to find it. Where is it hiding? 2 seconds. I'm trying to find a blog post, I am. Let me just put them there a minute. Someone might have just sent it to me. Ah, someone has. I wanted to get the PDF in place before I find it. There's a page as well. Found it. All together. Thank you for that. You know what I was going for. So it's SFOC. So what I was working to talk about was SFOC, which is the new standard in motor control. And look, this has been being worked on for a little bit of time now. And I suspect we'll hear more about this in the near future. But look, this is the big push forward. This is the real push that you're going to see in the future. And there's some really cool stuff in this, because you're moving away from the feedback from the motor, the back EMF, and you're moving now to a sensor approach for being able to control the motor. And it's all in math. You know, you're doing this on board in math on the FC. So you're removing the back EMF instead of... Because remember, look, you know, the crazy thing, and I don't know, it's probably... And Chris Rosser has a really good video on this. You know, you're measuring the motor's position today via back EMF from that winding on the motor. So you're trying to figure out where a motor is based on switching that phase off and getting the EMF that you're getting back. And it's fine, but it's so complicated, and you're never 100% in the right place. And this is the reason why we have brushless caulking, yes. Yeah, you're always... It's incredible it works as well as it does, considering how fast these motors spin. It is actually incredible what we have today works. Isn't this this isn't the first time we've migrated from ESC firmware? No, it isn't. It is a wonder it even works. But look, there's a lot of interesting stuff around the corner on ESCs, and it isn't all about AM32. However, there is also AM32 ESCs coming, and one of the ones I was sent over this week is this from SEQURE. I can never say this company's name. No, I haven't got this ESC yet. They are sending me one. But you are starting to see AM32 ESCs coming. They are shipping this with AM32 now. This apparently is a very, very good ESC. Gotta like those motor pads, as someone is quite said. Looks a chunky boy. It is a biggie. You know, it's a 70 ampere. So this isn't your 3.5 incher. SEQURE. Yeah, I can never... SEQURE could be because... But yeah, so... quite a nice looking product, if I'm honest. If we look at the ESC there, let's open that up in a new tab. You got 4-tier controllers and GD7. That must be the SoC's GD series. Just look on the other side of the other board. Let me just have a look what's on the other side of the board. That's that side. Yeah, Geos. Are they G series? G071 GB8s. And you can see it's available in 32 and AM32. But it's a nice looking ESC, I have to say. And price-wise, $74.99, not the cheapest. TBS stacks only fit their frames. Have I talked about that yet? I think I skipped that because I skipped a live stream. Oh, drone camps, you have just reminded me of one of the rants I intended to have. You have. I was meant to rant about this, and have I forgotten? Oh, well, that's coming up. Have I ranted about this yet or not? I can't remember. Gorilla Mountain. Gorilla needs to drag them through the woods and beat them to within an inch of their lives is what the gorilla needs to do. So look, SEQURE, they have this ESC. Right. Let's do it. I know I ranted about this on my Discord. Now, I don't want to hate on TBS because TBS are a company that we all love. And my chat has stopped working. Let's try it and see if it comes back. Are you coming back today, chat? Are you going to work today, chat? Is my chat not working today? I think chat has given up. Oh dear. I'll do it in the clear then. Right. Okay, so TBS is a company that we all love in FPV, and like no one was more pleased than me when we've seen them recently come out the woodwork and sort of get back on top of some of their products. And recently, they've released a new flight stack, both a flight controller and an ESC. Now, unfortunately, this does come with what I think is, frankly, some complete and utter madness. Now, we're going to go under the new product section for this. So you've got the TBS Lucid ESC. And whilst, again, I was ranting earlier about brands who only show renders, once again, we have another brand showing renders. We have their stack, which is here, which is a flight control and ESC. We have some nice, pretty renders of what it will look like. There you can see a fully populated and great-looking flight controller, a fully populated and great-looking ESC. Now, whilst we always welcome brands to bring products into FPV, what TBS decided to do was release a flight controller based on a standardized pattern, but an ESC based on what they're calling Gorilla Mount, which will only fit their custom mount frame option and frames with this custom mounting feature. Now, this is the Gorilla Mount in here. It is not 20 by 20, 30 by 30, 25 by 25. It is some complete and utter bullshit nonsense mount that no one asked for, no one needs, and frankly, no one should buy. Because what we don't need any more of in FPV is bloody proprietary connections. Now, this may be a fantastic stack, and I more than welcome the likes of TBS bringing more products to FPV. But why, oh why, would you create a bloody ESC with a mount that only fits your specific frame or frames that your partners are going to make? Now, the mounting pattern is what they call Gorilla Mount, which is 39.5 by 16 mil, or there is a bracket for 20 by 20 and 30 by 30. Now, I don't know what actually, I do know what drugs they were smoking, but whatever it was, they shouldn't have been allowed to smoke them at the point of actually hitting the yes button to production. They sell an adapter, but I don't want an ESC on an adapter. I want an ESC that fits the bloody frame that I want it in. And I just think they are... I don't know why. I just don't know why. You may as well, right, smash yourself in the face 100 times because you're going to cause yourself as much pain. I'm going to make a product that is only going to fit these certain things because I don't want to sell it. So I may as well just do that, and instead I'm going to burn the money and punch myself in the face because, well, I'm doing stupid things. I may as well do that at the same time. And I don't know, look, it's just madness. And whatever they thought this was a good, why they thought this was a good idea, I don't know. There is no good reason. There is no good reason. I don't care what nonsense they are going to say this gives benefit. There is no good reason to change the mounting. The mounting has got to 20 by 20 and 30 by 30 through literally evolution. We have got to this because we have worked out this is what works best in general. No one sat here and went, you know what? I think the mount makes the ESC worse. It doesn't. There is no compromise electronically and technically in a 30 by 30 mount. The only compromise there is the development around the layout. They did it because without holes, you can optimize the layout. It's 20 by 20 but can withstand 300 amp. Okay. Show me an ESC. So what are they saying it can rate? 60 amp times 4 for 300 seconds. 70 amp times 4 for 60 seconds. But it's not 20 by 20. It's meant to be a 20 by 20 form factor. But it's not a 20 by 20 form factor. The ESC size is 39.5 by 16. What they've done is shrunk the width. You could have shrunk the width and made it longer by keeping the holes in the same place. Because you just moved the components. You could have put the holes back where they needed to be and then redesigned. It is nonsense to say we had to do it this way. It was the best way of doing it. It just... If you want high current in 20 by... Yeah, but it's not 20 by 20. But it's not 20 by 20. If I want high current in a 20 by 20... They kept the FC standard mount. Yeah, fair play. It will fit my racing frame. It's small enough. Let's look at it here. Look, so, okay, so if you needed to move the holes, you'd have to move a FET, right? So what we're talking about is component layout, right? So you'd have to move a FET and a driver. They look super dumb because they have holes in the middle. Yeah, but how it looks isn't important. It's how it works. Its sizing is 30.5. No, sorry. ESC. 39.5 by 16. It just... I don't accept this had to be done to make a better ESC. I just don't accept that. I don't see any world where this had to be done to make a better ESC. Do you know what I'd have done? Here is a incredible simple way of fixing this problem. You mount a heat shield top and bottom with 20 by 20 and 30 by 30 holes and you don't go through the board. I could have even accepted the ESC being structural and have heatsink on either side and mount the flight controller to the heatsink. I could have accepted that. The battery terminals are close to the screws, yeah. Would you isolate the heat shield? No, I'd just ground it. Should be grounded. You could even make a frame that comes up around it. There are just so many different things you could do. I just don't... Redesigning a frame to suit an ESC seems utter nonsense to me. Because that's, in essence, what you have to do here. Redesign a frame to fit the ESC. That just seems mental. Absolute mental. The brackets are cheap. So they have... So let's just have a look. There's brackets on the website. Is there to mount 30 by 30? Should we just have a look? I don't know if anyone has the bracket. Does anyone know where the bracket is? Ah, here we go. So, TBS Gorilla 30 by 30. So now I'm just looking how this lays out. Wow. Okay. Really? So look, I got no issues with the bracket. How the hell is that gonna... Rotor is going to flip his lid with the vibration performance of this. You're going to see Rotor having a freaking hernia, brain hemorrhage when he thinks about this. It's like, vibrations, vibrations! Chris is just going to blow... Chris's mind's going to go... I don't know. Just the big question is, why? Ross's excuse for the version 9. I just don't get the why. Johnny, you have a frame to... Do you have a frame to fit it? Are you making a frame, Johnny? You also have a frame on the way to fit it. Or you got someone sending you one. Look, I am an engineer by trade. What? This is like... You change things like this. You don't change things like this. You just don't change things like this. There are better ways of doing this. If you look where that mounting pattern is on a 30 by 30, right? Where is it on the 20 by 20? Let's just have a look. When seeing it in person, you realize that racing many hard crashes send the standoffs into the corners of the ESC, and this basically removes that corner so you have some more clearance. How does it look on the 20 by 20? I'm intrigued. So if you went for the middles, you'd be... I don't know. I think... I think there are better ways than redesigning a frame to do this. No, I think it's aluminium. I'm guessing the mount's aluminium. Look, the chances are it'll be a very good product. Okay, what we can say about TBS is this, right? TBS's hardware is generally very, very good. That is not in doubt here. So as a piece of hardware, I think it'll be all right. I will say, interestingly, the price of the ESC is pretty good. Okay, what is interesting is for $54.95 is actually that's a decent price for that ESC. I don't like the fact there's only renders, and as I've ripped Caddx apart and as I've ripped everyone else apart, TBS, where's the actual pictures, please, and not bloody renders. I don't want renders. I want pictures of the actual ESC. The price is decent. The price, that $54.95, that's pretty good. JP Spin, I just read your comment. No issues there at all on the pricing. Actually, I think it's very competitive. Very competitive, in fact. And then what we're talking on the flight controller. If I click on stacks, what's the price of the stack? So it is... Oh, yeah, there's a Pro, isn't there? I forgot. What's the difference in the Pro? Can anyone remember? I've forgotten. I watched the launch video and I've forgotten. What's the Pro got? Oh, yeah, the MPU 6000 gyro. That's it. Yes. You're paying more, $15 more for the gyro. Yes. Hello, Brandon. $99 for the stack is actually very good. From a stack price perspective, that is decent money. Let's be honest. Running AM32 as well, which is great to see. I just think, look, they're selling it for a race environment. There'll be a lot of people in that environment that might like it and buy it. What it's not going to be is a mass product for everyone, and that's the problem. That's the issue with it. But yes, it's a stupid mount. I think for me what's frustrating, actually, and here's what I would say is frustrating. I would have liked it if they'd have released two versions, so a standard version and this race version. I would get that. I would absolutely get that. We've made our custom version for racing for this people, but we've also made this version for this. Rabbit Ambulance has just had an aneurysm at that statement. Which statement was that? Need 32-bit for AM32, not 8-bit? Yes. Barbarossa, how are you? What do I think about the new Walksnail gimbal? I talked about it earlier. I can't comment. I haven't tried them. Something is coming tomorrow. I don't know who from. It could be the Gimbals. I don't know. We'll be interested to see what frame manufacturers actually decide to make. Yeah, that's a good point, Johnny. I hope you're 5 as well. Oh, God. Johnny, I hope you're 5. You know where my brain went then. I hope you're well, John, is the term I'm trying to say. Johnny 5. I hope you're good. TBS do a lot of other stuff as well. So they... why not make two-board ESC with a standard mount instead? Don't go down the road of multi-board ESC. We'll end up back at the freaking cube. For those who remember. Pro version has an OSD as well. Yes. Okay, guys. If you have any questions, now's the time to put them in the chat. I'm going to just talk very quickly about a couple of things whilst you're doing that. Okay. I'm in the middle. I've just started a new review on a 3D printer that I basically don't have room for. For those who haven't seen what I'm talking about, and I've lost the web page with it on, I am reviewing the Snapmaker Artisan. Now, if you don't know what this is, it is a ridiculously big 3-in-1 3D printer. hopefully improving upon the features that we saw on the Snapmaker Pro 2.0. It is the 3D printer, it is the CNC, and it is the laser engraver. I'm going to be concentrating, though, on the 3D printer and CNC. We're going to be making a frame very soon as well. I can't quite... Right, just to give you guys some perspective, right, for those who are bamboo users, okay, right, just to prepare. So, this is the size of the print bed on the A1 Mini. This is the size then of the print bed, level them up, on the Bamboo, the X1. This is the size of the print bed on the Artisan. Now, that is some difference in bed size. It is huge, but it isn't fast. This is actually a glass PEI bed. It's actually glass. Glass on that side. PEI on that side. No, it is not a Core XY. It's a bed slinger, and it only runs at 100 millimeters a second. But what is very cool about this thing, and this is the bit I'm looking forward to, right? This printer has swappable features. You can swap it for the laser engraver, but you can also swap it for the 200-watt CNC. And that is what I am really looking forward to trying. Where's the CNC? That's the laser engraver. Here it is. You got full CNC capability. Oh yes, I'm going to be doing carbon, not in here. Now this is not a cheap piece of kit, but it is very, very interesting. Very interesting indeed. And I'm going to be making a video on that soon. Now, I just wanted to check something, actually. Now, while you guys, if you got any questions, put it in the chat. I wanted to print a test cube because I've been doing some test prints, and I'm not 100% sure on its accuracy. I did a print earlier, and its accuracy wasn't quite there. Actually, that's better. That's 20 by... that's 20 point... Yeah, that's within tolerance. That's fine. What are we on the sides? Let's just do a side check. That's bang on. So that's 20 mil. 19.98. And then it was the Z accuracy that wasn't quite on earlier. It's a little over. It's a little high, but within 0.2 is fine. That's 20.25. Within 0.2 is pretty good. It is a little high on the accuracy. For some reason, that's not showing up my camera. There you go, 20.22. Here's what's incredible, actually, right? So this chip is printed on the Bamboo Lab P1, right? And to give you an idea, the accuracy on this is just insane. The reason I was checking is, right, so this is meant to be 3.5 mil high. Let me just show you there. 3.5 mil is what it's meant to be. And that comes in at 3.56. That is incredible. Incredible accuracy for the Z-axis on the Bamboo. It's nuts how accurate the Bamboo is on the Z-axis. It's just insane. And this was the same chip printed on the Snapmaker, but it's 3.88 instead of 3.5. It was a little bit thick. And that's why I wanted to do a Z test. That's 0.3 high, which is okay, right? 0.2, 0.3 is okay. The most accurate printers, but that is incredible. That is as good as they get. The P1S doesn't use sonar. No, the P1S uses a load sensor. But I just did this C print on the Snapmaker. And it's 0.25. It is 0.25. She's a little. If I push in, we can get in. But it's definitely. Yes, it's 0.2. It's not quite where the bamboo is. The bamboo, honestly, for anyone who's got bamboo printers, I know Joseph does and a few others. The bamboo is just insane. How good those printers are. Just how good those printers are with regards to dimensional accuracy and everything. So it's just crazy. It's insane. It's just you just keep using them and finding more reasons they're so good. Here's what is interesting though, actually. The bamboo didn't do as good a job on the chip printing. So the bamboo was printed obviously with the AMS, and this is a bit cogged when I feel it, because it's got to pause between the prints, right? This has come out, it's not quite round. You can see it there. It's bulged on each of the cogs between the filament changes, and when I feel it, it's not perfectly round. But the print quality and the dimensional accuracy is spot on. The first layer on this didn't fill properly. It hasn't squished in 100%. You can see that there are gaps there on that chip. So if I show you on the bamboo first layer versus that, it's not quite squeezed in. There was a bit of overflow there, which is fine. The top layer isn't quite as smooth as the bamboo, and it is noticeably thicker. It is definitely a thicker chip. And I don't quite understand why. Probably over extruding a little bit. But this is perfectly round. This has done a better job because this is dual extruder. So this isn't pausing. This is just choosing between the two extruders. And it's done a better job of the two different colors. I also printed this earlier, which is cool. I'll show you quickly. Where'd it go? It should have been on my desk. It's gone. Here it is. I did a dual print earlier. So this print is PETG and TPU. Right? So this was on the Snapmaker. It's peeled a little bit. I've definitely got to work on the first layer. The first layer is not right. The first layer is not 100% at all. But the outside quality is good, but this is PETG and TPU mixed. Now, you can't easily do that in the bamboo. So you've then got a soft rubber foot on the top. And TPU will stick to PETG. It won't stick to won't stick to PLA, but it will stick to PETG. So that's sort of a foot printed with like a softer bottom. And it's done a very nice job on that. With mods, you manage to do, standard, it won't do it. But you could mod one of your... well, you can't mod one, but with mods, you could do it. But yeah, just I'm quite impressed with it out the box. CNC cutting. 200 watt isn't massive. Most of the bigger ones are 1.3 kilowatt, but it will do CNC cutting. Is it taller on one side? Shouldn't be. It must be just the camera. No, it shouldn't be. It's probably just the camera. Any AC unit recommendations? Oh, the chat's fixed itself. Oh, it had. Is it coming back? Oh, the chat's fixed itself. No, it's not water well. No. So that's going to be the challenge. You don't want to do it in... I won't be doing it in here, put it that way. That isn't to say you couldn't design a water well. That isn't to say you couldn't make a water well for it. It doesn't come with a water well. It has a MDF sheet. But you could do a water well. Was I in the movie with the Princess Bride with Andre the Giant? Probably. Bed selling a water well is difficult. It is. But there is space. It's a big thing. It also doesn't move that fast. Dust extraction. Well, it depends. No, it has extraction for the cabinet if you choose to use the cabinet. Yes. But it doesn't have on nozzle. No. Throws the water out. Yeah, this doesn't really... It depends how fast you do it, isn't it? Nozzle, yeah, you know what I mean. On the hot end. Oh, no. God, on the CNC. Carbon needs a good vacuum filter, yes. It's not pretty stuff. It's not going to fit in the cupboard under the stairs, but it's definitely an interesting product if you wanted something that you could mix between. It's a bit of a sort of a dad's garage. So, is DJI going to get banned? We don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. It gets hot, so it becomes technically a hot end. Nice save. Found me through Facebook. Found you through a Facebook group. You commented a huge paragraph on a potential fix for ESC problems, and it fixed it. Oh, thank you. I'm glad it was helpful. Right, guys. I'm going to end this one there. I hope the audio has been better tonight. I hope the volume has been good. You should do a video on how to safely laser engrave. I think the video on how to safely laser engrave is don't laser engrave. That's the answer. But thank you for the 14 ZAR. Yes, that is the only downside. I think, look, it's not a tool for everyday swapping back and forth. But it's definitely something for the people who are interested in having a bit of an all-in-one. Audio is good. Thank you very much. Thank you all. Stay safe. Look after yourselves. We will be back same time, same place next week. There might be some stuff to talk about because there's something coming tomorrow. I don't know what it is. Someone sent it. I have a FedEx parcel coming. It could be something from Caddx. It could be something... I don't know. I am not aware. Have I said a yes to anything recently? I said no to everything. I can't remember. Anywho, look after yourself. Thank you to everyone who's donated the super chats. I really do appreciate it. Please do consider checking out the Patreon. Stay safe. See you next time. Oh my God, I lost it. See you same time, same place next week. Later.